So with that nice standing position, just take that moment, make sure you've got that good connection with our centre, and we can take a few nice wide breaths out to the side and back of the ribcage. As we do a lot of the roller work today, we want to remember our connection with our centre, of course. So just keeping that awareness of breath as well, because that's going to give us that pace, and that's nice, slow, controlled work that we're wanting to work with. With the shoulders nice and open, we'll just mobilise the shoulders to circle back to get started as usual. Open the shoulders out. And sliding the shoulders all the way down nice and low. Neck still nice and long and lengthened. And our head turns. So a little look over one shoulder on the out breath. In breath as we come in. And then out breath as we turn the other way. In breath back in again. So a nice even movement. And then ear to shoulder. So as we come in on our next one, keeping the gaze forward and just letting the head tip across to one side, shoulders stay nice and level. Rolling up on the in-breath, same the other side. One more try. So we use our roller through our opening section as well to get going. So we'll grab a hold of the roller on each end and just bring it down in front of us. And we'll just do a little bit of upper body warm up. So nice connection with shoulders, shoulders falling down the back. Ribs are nicely over the hips. And our centre set, and we're going to slowly start to bring the roller out through in front of us and up, and as far as we can go high overhead without the ribs lifting forward or the shoulders over lifting towards the ears. Hold for the in breath and then out breath as we control the roller back down. So nice controlled movement, really think of that alignment. So we've not got any movement or change in the curves of the spine as the roller lifts up. Really paying attention to what's happening through the back of the body and the front of the body as the arms lift. And controlling that lower back down again on the out breath. So we'll do a few more. You can go nice and controlled. Yes. On our next lift, we're going to take it into a side bend. So we want the same nice control as we lift the arms up. We're wanting to keep nice and open through the shoulders. So we're keeping that length through the roller and then sort of head through that centre of the roller. And then we're tipping over across to one side. So our roller angling overhead. Roll back up on the in-breath. Same the other side. Right, breath over. Roll back up, and then control another on that final leg breath again. So we'll do a few more like that. So whatever the distance is between the head and the roller and the arms is where that should stay as you go over. So you shouldn't end up with one arm over by your head and one arm down, for example. So you wanted to keep that same nice equal distance as you do your side bend. So really think of the head staying centered, the arms staying equal. You shouldn't end up with one arm closer than the other to your head. Couple more. And then we've got some leg warm-ups work. Good, good, good. Nice and controlled. Warming up through the side, creating that little bit of length through the sides of the body. Nice and controlled, nice roller, giving us that structure to the movement a little bit. As we finish our last side bend, the roller is going to come on the floor in front of us. We need some space to be able to roll it. So make sure you've got enough space to be able to roll it out in front of you. So we're going to stand fairly close to our roller and then just bring one ball of the foot to rest on the roller and keep standing nice and tall. So we've got our centre set. We can take the arms out to the side to help to balance us a little if we want to. So you can stretch your arms out into T position. And then we're going to start, so we've got a little sequence, but we're going to build it up. So our first one, we're just going to roll the roller out in front of us until the leg comes along. So then go from the ball of the foot to the heel, and then pull back in. We'll do one more like that, and then we'll add to it. So we've got our stretch out. A little bit of a hamstring stretch there, depending on the tightness of your hamstrings, maybe more of a hamstring stretch. So from our arms reaching out, this time as we're going to stretch forward, we're then, as we draw the roller back, we're going to close the arms and come into a little sort of cat curl as the roller comes back in. And then we're going to open the arms into our T as the leg stretches out and come into our cat curl as we pull the roller in. We've got that stretch and open out and curl and draw back in. There's a couple more, and then we'll swap sides and we'll do about the same on the other side. So as you swap sides, do that little bit of prep again. So we did 2 or 3, just stretching the leg out, and that gives us a chance to get used to the balance. And then we added that cat curl action in for around 5 or 6. So we had that first nice supporting weight through our supporting foot, stretching out and drawing back in, keeping nice and tall. So our centre doing that stabilising work to keep us nice and balanced, and depending on the tightness of your hamstrings, a little bit of a hamstring stretch there as well. And then we've got our cat curl. So from our arms reaching out as we pull in, we round into that nice rounded shape for the back, and then open out as we stretch your arms out. We've got some nice mobilising through the back. in, nice even set. 5 or 6 with our curl. Balance incorporated into that spinal mobility today. Got a bit of twisting version next, so there's a few versions of these we're going to have a go at. So it starts similarly, but we're going to have an arm reach this time. So with the foot on our roller, as we're going to stretch the leg out and rotate to the side into a spine twist as we stretch that leg. The arms go wide, and then as we draw the leg in, we rotate back and come back into our reach. So our centre set, as we stretch out, we rotate round. Yeah. And then draw back in as we come back round. So 2 more again, and then we'll swap sides. It's still quite warm in here for the weekend, actually. Same on the other side, so we've done about 5 or so. Good, good, good. Right, so for our next one, we need to be able to take the roller out behind us. And we're standing with the ball of the foot on our roller behind. Nice tall standing position. And again, we'll break it down a little. So for our first ones, and then we're going to add, we're going to keep that nice and straight, and then we're going to add a bit of back extension into the sequence. So we'll soften on our supporting knee as well. So we've got both knees bent, and then arms down by our sides. So as we breathe out, we're going to push our roller out so that we come into a long leg on our front and on our back, and then draw the roller in, bending on our supporting leg and bending on our roller leg. So we've got that stretch out. My roller's not moving very well. Getting stuck. And then draw back in. Bending our supporting knee as we draw back in. So try one more so you can get a roller. Behave. So we're going to add that little back extension on the straight part. So we've got both knees bent. As we stretch back and lengthen, we're going to add that little lifted head, lifted the breastbone back. And then as we draw in, we'll bend the knees. Do about 3. You can do it like you're all like a slightly deep. Yeah. Yep, same on the other side. So do a couple of just the leg action again. And then once you've got the leg action, add the back extension. So our leg action, both knees bent, arms down by our sides, nice and tall, and then just stretching out. And then we added the back extension. Roll away at an angle.
Some exercises are just fiddly, aren't they?
Yeah. The roller is a bit fiddly with this one, I think. We're on our last one or two. So we're going to bring the roller to our mats, across the mat, and we're just going to kneel and bring the hands onto our roller. So nice long spine. We want the pelvis therefore neutral, the knees underneath the hips, the hands underneath the shoulders, so our roller underneath there, and the neck nice and long, so don't let the head just hang. We want that nice engagement there. So our centre needs to work to keep us nicely balanced. So from here we're going to do a little cat curl sequence. So we're just letting the tailbone curl and roll the spine up. So we've got a nice curve reaching up towards the ceiling. We're going to do a little half sit back from there. And we're trying to keep the roller more or less where it is. So the heels going back, or the hips going back towards the heels. Lengthen the spine from there to come into a long spine and just draw back forward with the shoulders over our roller. So curl, in the out breath, keep our centre, hips go back about halfway towards the heels, roller stays nice and still, lengthen the spine, come into a nice long spine and draw back forward over our roller. So nice bit of mobilising still at the moment. We'll try one more and then we're going to add a little bit to it. Arms are long, lengthened, shoulders nicely connected down the back, centre set. Roller stays perfectly steady. So we've got our curl this time, so round in the spine, coming into our curl. Tuck the toes under this time and hover the knees. Take the hips back around about halfway, lengthen the spine, draw back forward with the hands and bring the knees back down. So curl, keep that curl, take the hips back, hover the knees, room, spine back long. Shoulders over the roller, bring the knees back down again. Keep going, we'll try a couple more. A little bit more core work. Roller stays steady. Doesn't roll away too much.
So you're still hovering your knees when your hips go back?
Yeah. Toes under. Lovely. One last one. So a little bit more stretch into back extension. We're going to roll through the roller a little bit this time. So we've got our same start position and our same little cat curl to start with. But this time we're going to allow the roller to roll out along the forearms as we take the hips back. And we're trying to come low. So we're trying to let the head and the breastbone come lower than the shoulders. Hold for an in-breath and then draw back in with our roller and lift back up into our 4-point position with the roller underneath us one more time. So we've got the shoulders nicely connected again. Our centre set. We've got that flex and curl of the spine. This time we're allowing the roller to roll out. So we roll down the forearms as we take the hips back, bringing the chest to low to the floor. So we get that long stretch and a back extension into the upper back. And then we curl as we draw the roller back in. And we're back into our start position. So a couple more like that as well.
How much more extended when you come back in?
When
When you come back.
When you come back, curl the spine, and yeah, you'll roll the roller back to the hands. Yeah, you can't curl back again. Yeah, yeah. The arms are staying long, but you'll pull the roller from the sort of forearm back on underneath the hands. Yeah, lovely. Good. So as we come up this time, we're going to change the position of our roller to just under the knees, and we're bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Okay, we need to focus that a little bit more on balance here again. So our centre is going to be working hard because we're in a sort of balanced position. The one leg is obviously going to be on our roller the whole time, and you can have the tip of that toe rest into the mat for that bit of stability. If you point the foot to toe, then obviously it's going to be more difficult, a challenge for balance if you want to try that as we work our way through. So nice connection with shoulders again, spine in a neutral position, centre gently connected. As we breathe out, we're just going to take the weight across to one knee, and without our roller rolling anywhere, take one leg nice and long out behind us. So we're not leaning on that supporting leg, we're keeping nice and level through the hips. Bring that knee back into our roller, and the same the other side. Roller should stay nice and steady. So again, we'll do one more, and we've got more to this movement, but just want to take the steps to build into the movements a little bit as we get started. So make sure you don't go into lumbar extension, so we don't want to arch into the lower back. We want the tailbone long, pelvis in neutral still. So we're going to add our knee bend. So we're going to take the weight across to one side, stretch that leg out, bend the leg in towards us, stretch, and place that leg back to the roller. So out breath as we stretch away and keep it up. In breath as we lengthen and draw back in. Keeping nice and balanced on our roller. do about 5 each side, so about 3 or 4 more each side. Make sure we don't overlift, so as always we want that nice level hip position. The leg doesn't need to be too high. And keep nice and balanced. Glutes will hopefully kick in as we draw the heel up towards us. Lovely. Keep that little check, shoulders down, centre set. It's nice and even, and then we're staying with this position for a little opposite arm and leg. So we've got that same leg extension. This time the opposite hand is also going to free up from the weight, so that the weight's all the way through one hand and the opposite knee. And then we've got the arm lifting and reaching out as the leg stretches out. And then drawing that leg and knee back in. Same the other side. So again, nice connection with shoulders. Remember, it doesn't need to be, have to be a high lift. So keep it low if you need to. It's more about the challenge of the balance and that stretch out of the arm and the leg than it is the height of the arm and the leg.
I do it as a twist.
No,
I can't even. I wasn't even going to try.
good. Properly side.
Still hot in here.
It's got warm. We're staying with all fours, but we're going to bring the roller along one side. You need to be kneeling across to one side of your bench, just so you've got enough space for this one. Hands underneath the shoulders. And then we're just going to bring the back of one hand through to rest on our roller. So we're going to do a little rotation with thread the needle. So from this position, we're going to start to roll the roller away, pushing through. Let's see how far you can stretch. And then pull our roller back. And to save, keeping on switching the roller around side to side. We'll do 5 on this side and then swap sides. So out breath as we stretch through. In breath as we draw back. Bend on the supporting arm if you need to, a little more soften on that supporting elbow. But keep nice and square through the hips. So if you feel that you can get more rotation, that soften of the elbow. We don't want the hips to follow us round, so the hips are staying square. All that spiraling into the spine. Out breath as we push away, and in breath as we draw back. Same on the other side, of course, and remembering that one side can be quite different to the other. Once you've done your 5 on that side, we'll release that wrist. We're coming back to kneeling on our roller for a moment. So getting into that all fours position with the knees resting on our roller. The toes will need to be lifted for this one. So we've got that one. So we've got a nice neutral spine position. We want to keep that, so we don't want the spine to curl. We're just going to have a small movement where we pull the roller in underneath us without curling the spine, and then roll the roller back out again. So we don't want any of the curves of the spine to change. So our center set, as we breathe it out, pull the knees in underneath us, but keep the spine nice and long, shoulders nicely connected down the back, and then push the roller out. So roll a little bit, not much. Is that okay for you, Sarah? Yeah. So spine not changing, just the legs pulling in underneath us. So a lot of core work to control that and not have any other changes and keep that stability and stillness in the shoulders. We're going to add a little bit of flexion now. So we're going to go into that leg stretching it out that we had with our other movement. But this time as we're going to curl the spine as that knee comes in underneath us and then it stretches out away again. So we've got that flex and draw the knee in underneath and stretch out as we take it away. And we'll do about 5 on each side. So we're coming into that curl as the knee reaches underneath. The roller should stay again fairly steady underneath us. There shouldn't be a lot of movement there. Good. And then on that other side. I'm nearly done with all 4, so for those that struggle with rests. It stopped raining then. So far, lots of good bit of core work, lots of spinal mobility, lots of sort of connection with our deep stabilising muscles for balance. One more little version of this. We're just going to work the sides of the body again a little bit. So from our kind of all fours position, we're back to a nice neutral spine position, but we're then going to bring one hand round in front of the other one. So we make a little T position with the hands, and we'll have length then down through one side, and we've got that same movement, keeping the spine nice and long, pulling the knees in and taking the knees away.
Notice that, don't you?
You should feel work down the lats and the obliques on one side. Remember, now breath, nice and slow, controlled. Out breath, 5 count. In breath, 5 count. And then same, of course, for the other side. Once we've done 5, we're just in that T position over. And a nice slow controlled movement, keeping the spine bent, long, lengthened, nice and still. Give the wrists a bit of a break.
Go to work tomorrow.
We're going to come on to our backs as we finish that one. We're going to bring our roller with us. So we want our knees around about hip distance apart. Hopefully you've got long enough arms to be able to hold onto your roller at your knees. And we've got nice connection with the shoulders down the back, and our centre gently connected. So a couple of crack ones, and then we're going to add a leg movement as well. So again, a movement that we're going to build on a little. So making sure our centre's set, and then as we breathe out, we're just pushing onto the roller and rolling the roller up towards the knee a little bit more as we lift the head and shoulders, keeping the pelvis in neutral, the lower part of the trunk nice and long. In breath hold, and then out breath release back down. Nice and controlled. So we've got that connection between the hands, the roller, and just below the knee there. And then we've got that press, lift, lengthen, roll the roller up a little bit higher onto the knee, and then release back down. So we'll do one more before we add the leg movement. A little alternating single leg stretch. We're going to add to that for 4 each side. So as we breathe out, we've got that same lift and lengthen of the head, but one foot's going to release and stretch, still keeping the pelvis in neutral, and then bring that leg down as we bring the head and shoulders down on the next out breath. Same on the other side. So out breath as we roll up. In breath as we come back down. Lovely. So you can have that in breath hold or in breath return. See, in breath hold's going to add that little bit more intensity. In breath return, actually not having to hold that position for as long. Trunk nice and lengthened still, particularly that lower half of the trunk, just the head, the shoulders. Not to bake the tips of the shoulders maximum, so we're not folding into that lower waist area. Lower half of the trunk, nice and lengthened. Keeping our centre, it's just a single leg movement of course, so it should be good for most of us. But lots of core work. As we finish the last one, nice and evenly, we're going to come up to a little seated position. And you can do this movement with either a flex spine as we go into it, or a lengthened spine. So you can either hinge through the hips or curl through the spine, depending on where you want to, how you want to work. So some people's backs are happier keeping straight, some are happier flexing. So work, you've got the choice with this one today to choose what you want to do, whether you want to go into a little tuck under and curl the spine, draw the roller down and lift one leg, and then keep nice and balanced and lift one arm, and then return it to the roller, and then the other, and return it to the roller, bend the leg in and roll back up nice and tall, or whether you just want to hinge, keeping the back nice and straight, stretch one leg out, and then arm lift. Lots of core work. Doesn't look like it there would be, but lots of core work. And then come back up again with our straight back. So choose whether you want to do that curl or straight. Yeah.
It's so much better.
Nice connection with shoulder as the arm lifts, so it won't be a huge lift. We want to keep nice and connected into the shoulder area, nice and balanced through our roller. Keep our leg long and lengthened out in front of us. Core muscles will be working hard either to maintain that flex or maintain the straight back. I know it's super hard, isn't it? Yes.
Between that and the hip flexors.
Yeah.
My abs aren't working enough.
555. Last one each way. We'll bring our roller lengthways along that as we finish that last one. And we're going to come onto our rollers. So sitting the tailbone to one end. And then just carefully bringing ourselves back onto our roller. You can start with the feet a little wider than hip distance apart. We're going to do a little arm and shoulder work to start with. So wider foot position will just give you that little bit more stability on the roller. So the head and the tailbone should both be on either end of your roller. Shouldn't have the head or the tailbone hanging off. Have a little fidget, find that balance point, so the roller nicely down through the centre of the spine, our centre connection in place. We should be in a neutral pelvis, so we'll have a little gap between the lower back and the roller. And we're just going to bring the arms to reach up towards the ceiling and start with a nice arm opener. So we're just going to take the arms wide out towards the side. Let them come open just as far as is comfortable for you. So don't force them down to the floor, force them into a hanging position low, but just come to that point that's a gentle stretch for the front of the shoulder, across the front of the chest, and then draw back up on the in-breath towards the ceiling again. Nice and simple, open out, and draw back up. Last one, I'll take it into an arm circle, so same arm reach. With the arm circle, we're wanting to make sure that we don't have any movement through the spine, so we're not allowing the ribs to flare or the pelvis to tilt as we do the arm movement. So being up on the roller, it would be easy to overextend or over open and have that flare of the rib cage as we work. So we've got that same open out, this time probably not quite as far, and we're then circling down towards the hips and back up towards the ceiling. Do about 4 and then reverse your direction. So nice and still on our roller. This nice shoulders. No, just, yeah. inner thigh connection with our last movement. So as we finish our little set of circles nice and evenly both sides, we're going to use the arms to stabilise us a little on the roller, because both legs are going to come in towards us. And arms nice and wide, and down onto the mat to balance us. Knees coming in towards the chest, and a little V shape for the feet. So we're going to do a little stretch up, open wide, keeping the feet pointing away, and draw back in, and draw the knees back in towards us. So up straight, V feet, open wide, pull the heels back in, roll the knees back together. Nice and balanced on our arm. Nice and working hard, that's nice and steady. Do about 4 more. So connection with hips, with inner thighs. Lots of core work still to keep nice and balanced. Lovely, lovely. We'll do a little bit of rolling out and release work just to take us towards the end. So we've got some releases. So we're going to bring the roller out underneath the feet to start with and just come onto our backs. You want a little bit of space to roller out. Pull the back feet, just rest in the roller with the knees bent. And we're just going to let the roller roll away, and as we roll that way, we're going to roll onto the roll the feet outwards, so we've got that little wide position as we roll out, and then roll the toes to point back up towards the ceiling, and pull the roller back in, and then we can reverse it. So go out straight, roll open, and we'll just do a few. Simple releasing type movement. And last one. Right, bring the roller onto the ribs. Take the legs nice and long on our side there. Take the arm nice and lengthened, and then the other arm over. We've got a long, slow stretch. And then we've got the same on the other side, of course. And then coming onto my backs with the roller across the sort of tips of the shoulder blade area, that mid rib cage, hands behind the head, legs nice and long, and just allowing the back to extend over our roller to where it's supposed to go. Let the weight of the head be supported in the hands, and again just that hold, release. Stretch now. So most of our work today been trunk stability really. So mobility and stability in the trunk. Not done a lot of work through the upper or lower limbs other than to use them to challenge the trunk stability. And then we're going to just bring the head back to a neutral position, bring the knees into bend, cover the hips and just roll down to around the bottom rib, back up towards the shoulder, nice and slowly. As we come to just come all the way to the shoulders, let the hips drop down and just do that little massage into the shoulder, going side to side with the elbows, just to finish. That's right, try. And then we'll just come up to stand from there. So, just kind of stretch as usual, nice balance through the feet. And palms to face forward, take a big breath in and circling. In breath, reach and stretch. And this one stretch. All the way back down again. Lovely, well done everyone. And see you the rest of the day. Well done at home.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.